Just call me like Dr. Love.
But what exactly do you do as a dating coach?
What do I not do as a dating coach? It is all about purpose. Dating's really not even about you. It's about Jesus. It's about the kingdom.
If you're in a relationship and you find out that's not like the right person,
Yeah.
what's the right way to tell somebody that?
Oh yeah, you guys are not gonna like this. You wanna be all in or all out because you leave room for the enemy to come in.
When's the right time to drop a knee?
Oh, it's gonna make me cry actually. Wow, that's a good question.
So how do you become a dating coach?
That is a very loaded question.
Yeah.
It started with a heartbreak. And then it led into me dropping into the DMs of Kate Borman at the time, Heart of Dating, which led me to planning her wedding, which led me to taking her mentorship course, School of Dating. I loved it so much. I applied all the principles like to the nth degree, and she made me a dating coach.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It seems like you take like first you start dating and then you do something with couples and then you're a wedding consultant. So you kind of take everyone from like point A to point Z, from like starting the date to like getting married.
Just call me like Dr. Love,
Yeah.
you know?
Where do you like find that passion? Were you always like that?
So I was born on my parents' wedding day. So I feel like I was born into love.
I love
And into
that.
weddings, yes.
Yeah.
And you know, as a little girl, as most little girls, I played wedding all the time. And then I was involved in all the events in middle school, high school, and I just loved planning. But planning weddings was my favorite. So I actually went to school initially for psychology. And then all of my girlfriends freshman year were like, what do we do with these like old prom dresses? Well, duh, like throw a party.
Yeah.
So I threw a party on a lake. We all dressed up in our old prom dresses. And I was like, okay, I'm going to switch my career. I'm going to be an event planner.
That's crazy. How much like creativity does that take? Is it pretty much all creativity? Like,
All creativity with a lot of type A organizational skills.
what exactly do you do? Are you planning the outfits, obviously like the flowers and the every style, all those things?
Such a good question. So I was heavy in weddings for 18 years.
Yeah.
And I worked on the luxury resort side, and then I worked for the luxury planning side. I was told super early on, in order to be the best wedding planner, you need to be the best venue manager first. So I was. And then once I actually got to my goal of being a luxury wedding planner, there wasn't anything I didn't do. So, I mean, from budget to venue search to helping them pick their wedding dress to bridesmaids dresses to helping curate, a full design for florals, rentals, picking the best photographer, videographer.
Oh, wow.
Timeline, diagram. Pretty much I became besties with a lot of my clients.
Now, are you pretty much there at every single one of these weddings that you plan?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So near the end, this was all when I lived in California. One of the biggest weddings I did, it was $1 million client in Laguna Beach. And I think that I was on property for about 21 hours. So
Crazy.
Saturdays usually, or I should say wedding day, usually was about anywhere between 14 to 18 hours a day.
That's crazy. Wow. How does it feel like when you kind of like plan that entire wedding and you get to know the couple and then like they get married? Like, how does that feel for you?
Emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
do you cry every time?
Sometimes I cry of happiness because they were difficult. But for the most part, no, I had really, really amazing clients. It was such a journey. There was such joy. I think the most joyful moment for me is watching them get down the aisle, and it's all of the meetings, all of the calls, all of the text messages, all of the late nights, early mornings leading up to that moment. And that's usually when I'd cry.
Now, were you a dating coach for any of those people that got married?
Well, that is a very good question. I am now. I wasn't when I lived in California, but I launched my company 6 months ago, Something Beloved Co. And I currently have 3 clients that I actually was their dating coach, and now they are my bride.
That's crazy.
Is that fun?
So what exactly do you do as a dating coach?
Oh my gosh, that is a very good question. What do I not do as a dating coach? No. So Heart of Dating. So that's the company platform that I work for. And Heart of Dating, we have a mentorship program called School of Dating. It's 11 weeks, and it teaches Christians how to date healthy. Okay. So we have 3 different phases. First, we got to go backwards in order to go forward. I've been in therapy my whole life.
Okay.
I've done a lot of work. I've read every Christian psychology book known to man. I've done classes, seminars, all the things. So I'll be honest, when I took this class, I was like a little snotty. I was like, I already know everything. No, I didn't know everything, and Holy Spirit totally is, not only is he like upon the process, like he convicted me, and took me to a different level. So, my main rule of thumb is going off of what we've learned in School of Dating. So we look back, we talk about core wounds, attachment styles. We create something called a confidence list. And then we get after it. So like phase 2 is like how to like really prepare to get out there and date healthy. And it's a different model than most Christians have seen. Most anyone has seen.
Yeah.
And then the last phase, like we get you out there, which is really, really, really fun. So even if my clients have not taken School of Dating, I still use those principles. But it's really anywhere all over the spectrum. So it's people who've never had a date that are 60. There are, people who don't know how to do a dating profile. I can help with that. I help people in dating multiple people, how to date multiple people, attachment styles. If you're avoidant, anxious, ambivalent, I can navigate.
What do you mean by multiple people? Just like dating around kind of thing, finding out who you like, or?
Ooh, this is a hot topic. This is my favorite thing, Zach. I have not talked to you about this before. Okay, so Dr. Henry Cloud, he came up with a book called How to Get a Date Worth Keeping. Have you heard of it?
No.
Yeah, it's so good. Well, I read it like a long time ago, and I said, Henry Cloud, I love you, but kick rocks, because I'm not doing what you said.
Yeah.
But essentially what it is and what his book talks about. And I knew that Kate and Henry, so founder of Heart of Dating, and Henry were like besties. So I knew in this program, I knew that she was going to make me do this crap. And I didn't want to do it. But essentially what he talks about, dating multiple people, the idea is kindness, clarity, and honesty. And it's dating for 3 months, non-exclusively, no committing and no kissing. And it's really, really getting to know the other person. JJ and I were talking about it last night, and it's like, maybe we call it the friendship challenge, because it is dating. It is a romantic setting, right? But you are really getting to know another Christian, and you're seeing, hey, do our core values, like, do they align? What about our non-negotiables? Because even as a Christian, you can have different non-negotiables.
For sure.
And also a lot of Christians have a lot of baggage, right? So maybe there's some deal breakers in there, right? And what I've seen with all of my students in my past, with my friends, so many people commit way too early without getting enough information. So I teach people how to navigate that with kindness, with clarity, if dating multiple people is for them. I still think whether dating multiple people is for you or not, you should still get to know another person, even if it's one person, for 3 months before you actually make that commitment.
Interesting. Now you mentioned wounds before. I feel like some people are like, what does that mean? Like, people have wounds. What are some of the common wounds that you see?
Yeah, it's sad. Yeah, a lot of wounds start in childhood.
Yeah.
Right. It's what really triggers you is usually where you can start, and then trace it back to your wound. So core wounds that I most commonly see are unworthiness, rejection, not enough, too much, misunderstood. I feel like misunderstood is a big one. Not heard, not seen. Invisible. I think invisible is a common one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those are good. Yeah. I mean, do you struggle with any of those?
Never. I've never struggled with any. Okay.
I think all of us do. Yeah.
I don't want to give too much away because I want everyone to take School of Dating, but we talk about how your core, like you have a core wound, but then you have branches of your core wound.
Yeah.
Right. So I think I have a lot of those branches. Yeah. But truly, like, for me, it is not feeling valuable. Mm-hmm. Right. But a big tree trunk is like not enough. Mm-hmm. Probably Same. And the biggest one is rejection. Yeah. Mm. I know.
Crazy. How do you know as a Christian, how do you know when you're ready to date?
Asking all the good questions. I think the easy answer is like, oh, if you have peace. I'm not going to tell you that. I think you need to go to the mentors in your life. You need to go to your core friends, and you need to be like, hey, do you think I'm in a position to date? One of the things that I get a little spicy about is that there's a lot of Christians that are out there that are not ready to date. They haven't healed from their last relationship. They haven't healed from their wounds, and they're actually not available. So they're on Hinge or Salt or Arc, and they are just wanting attention.
Right.
And then they only want that attention, and they're good. So I think it is, yes, you absolutely want to have peace. You want to have confirmation from the Lord, but I say you go to his word. You got to go to his people and really making a sound decision. Do I have availability? Can I emotionally do this? Can I physically do this? And really sussing out, am I willing to do the hard stuff?
Yeah.
Am I willing to have hard conversations, right? Being aware of your attachment style. Okay, how do I lean when a conflict happens? Am I willing to face that? Am I willing to be brave? Am I willing to be courageous? Because if you're not, stay off the apps and don't date.
Yeah. Do you think you should only date if you want to be in a serious relationship, like marriage, like period? Or is there like a happy medium there?
There is no happy medium there. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. It's only one date at a time. I think a lot of Christians put a ton of pressure on dating, right? You are just getting to know another person. It is all about purpose. Dating's really not even about you. It's about Jesus, right? It's about the kingdom, right? You're looking, is this person going to be a partner where we can be better for the kingdom together? Or is this person going to pull me apart from the kingdom? Right?
Yeah.
So that is why we date, right? Because here's the thing is if you're like, well, a little wishy-washy, like, I mean, I'm kind of ready and maybe down the line, that is a wrong heart posture, right? Like you are dating because you're also leading the other person on unless you are completely clear. Even still, I would say knowing that you are available to be married, but you don't need to think about that. That is way far down the line, and you're just getting to know another person one date at a time.
I love that. What's the difference between compatibility and chemistry?
You're asking all the good questions. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I think that there is a godly chemistry that is a must. Godly chemistry is way different than regular chemistry.
Can you explain what godly chemistry is?
Oh, yes, I can. It is a slow burn. It is not a super big high that drops you low. I would say be very, very wary of anything that brings you super high, right? Because usually there's something there that is unhealthy. Right? You want to have a slow burn. And I think that a godly chemistry where you are aligning on all the buckets of attraction, not just physical, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, every single bucket, it's going to be a slow burn. And the godly chemistry, it sustains. It doesn't go away. Where like super hot chemistry, that burns out, and that cold is really, really, really painful. And compatibility, I think that it's like putting weight where weight matters. You know, I've seen so many people that have a list of 103 things that they want in another person. God can do whatever he wants. Yeah. You know, like he can do anything.
Yeah.
But here's the thing is you're looking for a human that loves the Lord. So I don't want to hear 100 things. I want to hear your top 5 non-negotiables. I want to hear your top 5 characteristics that you want in another person. Have you ever read the book Sacred Search? I've read it 7 times.
I don't think I've read like any dating book. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Zach, you have homework. Okay, you have to read Sacred Search.
Okay.
Actually, I'd say everyone should read that before actually considering going on a date with somebody. Because Gary Thomas does such a good job at not only explaining the purpose of dating and marriage, but compatibility of like what is really important, what isn't. Because the thing is you want to put weight where weight matters. So I don't look at age, I don't look at height, I don't look at ethnicity. Like I look at like your heart. And if you are somewhat attracted to somebody, and you have attraction in all the other areas, trust me, that somewhat is going to grow and grow and grow and grow. So I think being compatible in key areas, but you could be two Christians where one Christian wants to be on the missions field all the time and living a bouncy life here and there, but then the other person wants to live in the suburbs, right? Like that's not compatible. But if your top 5 things make sense together, I think that equals godly chemistry.
Welcome to the Podcast House. We're located in Franklin, Tennessee.
We're a fully done for you podcast studio where you come in, talk, and we take care of everything else.
Podcast House is operated by podcasters and filmmakers.
Podcast House is for anybody who has a vision for a message that they want to get out there.
Some people, they just always wanted a podcast. They see people like Joe Rogan and George Janko and Chris Willix, and they're like, I want to be like that. And Podcast House gives you an opportunity to become like those guys, to give you a platform, to give you a voice, to share your story.
So we record the full podcast. We offer editing. We offer short form content. We offer YouTube thumbnails. Pretty much anything that you can think of in the podcasting realm, we offer.
We've worked with people that literally just get started with their podcast. And then we've also worked with celebrities like Michael Chandler and Haley Welsh and Caitlin Bristow.
It's changing the narrative of what podcast studios are.
When you come in here, it's a homey vibe. It doesn't feel like you're in a studio, but you are in a studio at the same time.
It's quite literally a home. It's a home remade into a podcast studio.
Podcast House is all about taking the headache out of podcasting and giving people a platform for their story and their voice to be heard. So like knowing like so much about like dating, how does that affect like your dating life? Because like when you go, on a date, you're like, yo, I know everything. You pick up everything. I can just imagine like that perspective.
Yeah, it's a gift.
Is it?
Wow, it's a gift. It's a gift. I mean, when I'm on Hinge, it's hilarious, but dating in real life, it's a gift because, I used to do it so different. And now I get to do it so much better, right? And authentic and with boundaries, and I don't abandon myself in dating. And there is a kindness and a gentleness in me that knowing that the other person doesn't have the same knowledge that I do. So I'm able to like speak up with kindness, speak up in my feminine. If there's something that is maybe like going not the way that I would hope. For example, I think a lot of Christians love the 6-hour date. They think a 6-hour date is the best thing in the world. And it's actually not. It's actually really, really unhealthy. I've seen so many times where two Christians get together, they have this fiery date, they have this chemistry, 6 hours, but then maybe the girl's actually not available. Like emotionally, that scares her. And then she runs away. And then the guy is like, what just happened?
Right.
But a slow burn, your first date, 90 minutes. You just keep it to an hour and a half, right?
Good.
So if a guy's like, I want another round of drinks, it's like, well, that would be really fun. And that would feel really good to spend more time with you. But unfortunately, it's time for me to go.
Yeah.
Something like that.
What's like the perfect first date in your opinion?
This is another one of my favorite questions. So I love being side by side. There is something about side by side that takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
So I'm all about, this is probably a little controversial because I'm a Christian, but I love a happy hour date. And I'm going to tell you why, because it's fun food and it's fun drinks. You can get a fun mocktail. I remember one of my favorite restaurants, we did like a fun sparkling water with like all the different like fruit in it, right? And it was just fun where you bring fun questions, you eat fun food, and it's just something fun to share where it's less pressure and it's in an environment. I'm all about the environment. The environment has got to be fun. It's got to be relaxing. So first date for me is anything where I can be side by side with low pressure.
You got any spots in Nashville that you recommend or Franklin?
Yes, I do. Okay, so my favorite place in Nashville, JJ's Wine Bar. I think that's so moody, so fun. I love Red Pony. Have you ever been to Red Pony? No. Yeah, like that area is just so cute, so fun. But really, you guys, the factory is where it's at.
Yeah.
Right? Like that little Sky Bar, whatever it's called, Skyline, is so easy. It's fun, and it's just, again, it's casual.
Yeah, I feel like there you can kind of be flexible. So like you could get a drink and then go to get ice cream.
Yes.
There's so many things around.
Jenny's, let's go.
Let's go.
You know, or even like walking around the factory, you know, like I think that's fun. Nashville, I think, is good for a second date. Because there's like Putt Shack, there's Pins Mechanical, like something fun where you're able to like do an activity together. I always think that's a good
So
time.
you're good with like drinking on the first date? Like, is for a Christian, would you say like there's like a good solid limit? Because like for the first date, like obviously there's always a limit. You don't want to get drunk, obviously.
Yes.
But like, it's like you want to because like it helps you be a little bit more social.
Yes.
I get that. But like, should you do that on the first date? Like, I don't know. It's kind of like goes back and forth with me.
I have a hard line at one drink.
Okay.
Yeah, just one drink. And like, even if you are doing like, like happy hour, like no shame in doing a mocktail, you know, but I would not do more than one. And you guys, you know what that requires is courage. Right? Because it's easy to lean on 2-3 glasses because then that is, okay, liquid courage, right?
Yeah.
But you got to be brave. You got to be brave. You got to ask good, solid questions, be present, you know, affirm yourself. Like you got to like go all in and that takes a lot of courage.
Yeah. Also to show like that self-discipline on the first date and like that self-control, I feel like that kind of goes a long way. And you're kind of setting the tone for like the both of you.
Yes. Yes. Totally agree.
What would you say is like your number one advice just for like anyone dating? They're just getting started in dating. Maybe they're 26 years old.
Yeah. Yes. I love it. Just getting started. So, you know, my biggest advice. So let's say, okay, you're officially in open season of dating. Like, let's go.
Right.
I think that you need to write down all of the best things about you because we live in a ghosting world. We live in a world where we can't control others, where we also live in a world of FOBO, like fear of a better option. So to guard your heart, to get ready, to get out there, you need to know who you are in the Lord. You need to know what you offer. So I would say that is the first thing. Also, online dating. 80% is not going to work. So just know, don't focus on the 80. When you get ghosted, call them out, you know, like focus on the 20 because that's what matters. The 20 is what matters, not the 80.
Yeah.
Also to take it one date at a time. I think Christians love to go from A to Z, you know, like girls already putting, you know, last name, like does my last go with my first name.
Yeah.
And no, you're just going from one date to the next. And I would honestly, a big thing is just have two questions that you want to know about the person. You know, so for example, you're going on a first date, right? It's, you know, I'd love to hear about where you grew up and what was your favorite thing about it and why.
Yeah.
It's like getting to know a little bit, right? A little piece. Or like another thing would be, tell me what your favorite thing is to do on a weekend. Describe your perfect weekend and why. Because then you're getting little insights. And as you take it one date at a time, it's what do I not know about the person that I need to know about them? And do I have enough information where I want to see them again?
Yeah. Can you go too deep on the first date?
Yes, you can.
What's that limit?
I know you're not going to like that. You really want to have spiritual and emotional boundaries just to guard your heart. Right. I think I'm a very, very deep person, so it's hard for me. But I just look at like an onion and you just want to do it one layer at a time. But each layer, you can be all in on that layer. Right. Because the problem is when you go too deep, too fast, we don't know what's going on with the other person. It could scare them. It could, because we don't know their intimacy level, if they're available. And then now you've just exposed a piece of your heart and then they're running away. Right. So I think it's one layer at a time, giving it your all. Give that layer your best. Right. But then pull back to make sure spiritually, emotionally, physically, you're not giving too much.
How about like physically?
Good question.
How far?
I'm more conservative now than I was when I was 12. So You know,
Yeah.
when I was 12, a boy would ask me out and then we'd kiss on the stairs that day.
Yeah.
So, and I had a lot of boyfriends when I was 12. But now, I really believe like not even kissing for 90 days. I think there are other things that you can show affection. Like you can hold hands, you can touch hands, you can touch shoulders. Like I would not go cuddling on a couch, you know, because the best part about dating this way is you actually get to know someone before you invest in them, right? How many times have I heard 6 months down the line, well, I never knew that about him. Or I never knew that about her.
Yeah.
So you're setting yourself up for the best successful relationship possible. And you're going to be making out for the rest of your life if this is your person. So you know what? You can take a chill pill for
Yeah,
the
I feel like
first
a
3
lot
months.
of people, they're probably like, well, that's easier said than done. Like when we actually get there, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, how do you have that self-discipline when
I
it really
run
comes
away.
down to it? Yeah. Right? I mean, that's the Bible right there. Yeah.
No, but I mean, genuinely, like my love language, it's half words, but it's half touch, right? So for me, I'm like, gosh, that's so hard. But I will tell you, me doing this challenge, like it has been challenging. Like there are times where it's like the hug is like lingering too long and I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go. But I've done it.
Yeah. So do you let them know that this
do.
is what you're doing?
Okay, so actually, Zach, I'm so glad you brought that up because if you decide to do the dating challenge,
Yeah.
you have to tell them after the first date. You have to. If you want to go on a second date or if you want to ask the girl on a second date, it is not kind to not let them know.
Yeah.
Because if you've never heard this information, you're like, I have no idea,
Yeah.
you know? So I would say something after the first date. So let's say you want to take a girl out on a second date. You like loved the first date and you're doing this challenge. You can just say like, hey, like I'm on this journey of dating where I'm really excited about you. And I want to let you know that I am not committing to a relationship for about 90 days. And with that means I'm actually not kissing either. And if you decide to date multiple people, that also leaves the other person more safe because you're not making out with all the different people, right? You're just genuinely getting to know another person.
Yeah, that's good. I like it. I like it a lot. So were you always into your faith, like Jesus? Like when did you find Jesus?
Yeah. So I grew up in a Methodist household. So I was in choir because they couldn't kick me out because I have the worst voice ever, but I loved it. Yeah. And I did, I did youth group. But the only thing is I didn't have a close relationship with the Lord. They didn't really talk about, what it's like to accept Christ into your heart and have him be your best friend. I went to a Bible camp when I was 17 and I was really having a hard time in my life. Like I was desperate. For help. And I just remember everyone's raising their hands. I'm like, what are these psychos doing? Now I'm the one, raising my hands.
Yeah.
But I was like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
And then they're like, ask Jesus into your heart. I'm like, this sounds crazy, but I'll do it because I was desperate. And the next morning, nothing changed, or so I thought. Everything changed. My whole life changed. God shifted circumstances I never could have done on my own. It is amazing to see what he did, how he brought my best friend, how he brought me Young Life, how he changed the college I was going to. He changed everything for me.
Wow.
So I have consistently been on fire since I've been 17 years old.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. So you woke up and it felt like nothing happened, but everything happened at the same time?
Everything happened.
I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
Yes. So I look back. So the next morning I was still struggling with all my struggles, right? I was still, my heart was still heavy, everything, my circumstances from the outside didn't seem like it changed. But then all of a sudden, I was a dancer. I danced on the same night for 10 years. And then just randomly that dance night changed. Well, that just opened me up to go to Young Life. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll try Young Life. Young Life taught me what God's love was and that God loved me, right? And wanted a relationship with me. Like Young Life taught me how to have a relationship.
Wow.
Not only that, my best friend, she had come to Christ a year before me. She was a little bit of a bad girl, right? And I was the good girl, even though I was going to the Methodist church, like I didn't have a full relationship with the Lord, but I was the good girl, right? So for us to become best friends our senior year was an actual miracle.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah, how would you explain your relationship with Jesus? Like for people that don't really understand that.
Yeah. He's my best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my best friend I can get angry at. I got really mad at him 2 weeks ago. And I've never felt so safe in a relationship in my life. And he knew that I was mad at him. I had just seen The Chosen. I'm not going to give it away, guys, but you know the story.
Yeah.
But the scene where Jesus is flipping tables, I never really thought about it much. I just thought he like flipped over a couple tables. No, he like takes all the tables out, and when I was watching that, God was like, you can be that angry with me, and what a safe God to be like, yeah. So I started flipping every table that represented disappointment to me, and then there was this release and this kindness. He is so kind. He's so loving, so full of grace and mercy. And I've experienced his reckless love on countless occasions. And the way that he has rescued me, and because the truth is that I've never fallen from him, but I have run from him. Right.
Yeah, I think we all have.
Yeah. I was like, do you want to come with me? Because this is the way I'm going. And he's like, I'm waiting right here for you.
That's such a good way to put it. How do you talk to him?
Like my best friend.
Yeah. Do you like kind of like meditate, or is it just like a prayer, or like are you like constantly like reaching out to him, like maybe even in this moment, like you're trying to like communicate with him? Like,
yes, I'm like, Lord, I pray that I have no sweat stains on my shirt. No, but really it is a constant conversation. And when I stopped talking to him and I realized, wow, God, I've not talked to you all day long, that is when I do get into like quiet prayer and meditation. I love my daily quiet time. I have such a beautiful rhythm, where I have a few devotionals, read scripture first, devotionals. And then it's almost like he tells me a story every day of what he wants to say to me. And then,
how so? Like,
it's so
just like in your
sweet.
head, or like audibly, or is it like you talking?
So reading the words that like stand out with each devotional.
Okay.
So I'm reading like the Divine Romance right now. It's the Passion version of one of their devotionals, and just hearing even just like key words that, I'm his tapestry. Like he sees me as lovely, right? And then the next one, The Joy of Waiting by Ashley Hetherington, when she's talking about making a 2-degree shift, right? And it's like, okay. And I feel like he's saying, okay, lovely, it's time to make a 2-degree shift. And I'm like, oh, I know. I don't want to though.
Yeah.
So something like that. And then I don't know if you've heard of like the acronym ACTS, but I love to use that for prayer.
Okay.
So like A represents adoration. So God, like, who are you? And I remember when I first became a Christian, I was like, I don't know who God is. So I don't know what to write here. So I just wouldn't. But now that's the longest part of my prayer, because I just see how he's my protector, my provider. He's so kind, so loving. My rescuer, my strength, my song, everything. I just had to stop myself right there. And then C, confession, right? So it's, God, where have I missed the mark? What do I need to repent of? What sin am I keep coming up against? Or what is maybe not the best for me? Or what lie am I believing?
Right.
T for thankfulness. So just like shouting out to God, like all these amazing things in my life. And then S for supplication. So just, throwing all my prayer requests, laying them all at his feet.
Wow. What does Galatians 5:1 mean to you?
You read my Instagram. It's going to make me cry, actually. Yeah. It means that he has rescued me and that he has freed me. But the key about Galatians 5:1 is to stay free.
Yeah.
So many times we get free and we go back. We're the Israelites, right?
Yeah.
We get free, we stop our gratitude, and we go back. And I don't know about you, but there are certain things in my life that I tend to keep going back to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that verse is the line in the sand of like, I'm not going back. I'm actually never going back, and I'm going to live insanely free, like you've called me to be.
Wow. I love that. Yeah. It's something about like slavery, right? The yoke of slavery, which is like, you know, basically you're a slave to like all these sinful things, whether it's, I don't know, drinking, smoking, hooking up with people, you know, all these things, greed, lust, all these things.
Yeah.
But like outside of that, there's actually so much freedom if you actually don't do those things and you put your faith in the Lord.
Yeah.
But it's hard to see that, especially for people that don't have a relationship with him. It's really hard to see that for people. They think it's just like a cage of rules.
Yeah.
But it's not that.
No, actually, I was reading this morning about how discipline sets us free.
Yeah.
You know, it really does. And I just think it's the lie of the enemy. Like it's, all these things will fulfill. No, they won't.
Yeah.
They actually never fulfill, and you need more and more and more and more and more. And the only thing that satisfies is God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the wounds that we were talking about, like not being enough, you know, trying to be perfect, all these things, not being worthy. Like sin is actually what leads to those things.
Yeah.
So like, and it doesn't make sense to us at first, but then like you really look back and like, yeah, it does.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. You know, and for anyone who isn't a believer, there is a beautiful life waiting for you.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Better than you could ever imagine. So I'm actually, I'm almost 19 years abstinent of an eating disorder. And one of the most beautiful things that I have learned in the 12-step program is that 1 day abstinent is better than my worst day. 1 day abstinent, 1 day free in my recovery is better than my worst day or my best day in my addiction. Because like when you are in addiction, or in this case, when you're in the world, right, you don't know what you don't know. But once you get to freedom, so I like in my recovery, my worst day in my recovery, I would never go back to my best day in my addiction. Ever. And I just think that, there is a glorious palace, you know, waiting for those who don't believe yet.
What do you think heaven's like?
Pure, easy, fun, laughter. I think everyone gets along. I think there's no drama. I think there's no chaos. I think there's no struggle. I think there's no battle. No death, no grief. And all your prayers, they're all heard. They're all there. They're all seen. And I think that it is pure freedom is what I think.
So like I hear that, but like sometimes the drama is fun.
I know.
Isn't that what makes like the world fun in some degree? But I think it's so much beyond our understanding that we can't wrap our heads around that.
No, we can't. And sometimes drama can be a little addicting.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And then that never fulfills either.
I want to go circle back to dating, but instead of someone who is like in the dating phase, but like already in the relationship now.
Yeah.
So how do you define a successful relationship?
Healthy boundaries, healthy communication, and aligned purposes, right? So let's say you've done the dating challenge, okay? You've done the 90 days, and now you're in a relationship. I think that is one of the most common questions I get as a dating coach. It's, what do I do now? Right? Because the first 3 months, it's kind of straightforward. You're getting to know someone to see if you want to be in a relationship with them. But getting into a relationship, I mean, it's always a risk, no matter what. And there are some things that you're not going to know in dating that you can only know in a relationship. That's only appropriate for a relationship. So, you know, I would say for being in a relationship, test the relationship. Like right away. Like, I want you to go through conflict. I want you to meet the parents. I want you to go on a long road trip, no sleepovers. Right. But I want things to test to see if the relationship is refined or if it crumbles. Right. But I think for me, one of the best things I ever did in a relationship, the best thing, was every single week having a moment, whether it's a half hour, whether it's an hour of an emotional connection time, right? Where you talk about what's going on in the relationship. because you're setting the dynamic, right? Because if this person is the person you're going to marry, right, you're setting this dynamic for the rest of your life. So many times, oh, it's no big deal, I'll just not talk about it. Or I'm going to shove it down, or I'm going to control it. But it's not a conversation. And before you know it, there's all these things that have built up underneath the rug, right? That it's so big, you're tripping on it, right? So this time, once a week, half hour, you can go for a walk, you can sit and hold hands, whatever it is. But it's an honest, kind time to talk about like, what's going on? What are we doing good? Or where are we missing the mark? Or it's just a time to be like, yeah, when you said this, it really hurt my feelings. Or when you said this, that made me feel really special. You got me flowers. I loved that. You have no idea how amazing that felt, right? That time. And for the Christians, I would say having a night where you can, with boundaries, but have like a spiritual discussion, right? You want to make sure you're on the same page with that.
Yeah.
So whether that's listening to a podcast or reading a book together or listening to a sermon just to talk about it, right? I wouldn't go too crazy deep until, further down in a relationship, but I think getting to know someone. And then the third thing is have some fun. You want to make sure you always keep fun in the relationship. Keep that spark alive. And just care about each other.
How about like the physical boundary when you're inside of a relationship? What would you say?
Oh yeah, you guys are not going to like this. I think you just leave it to kissing. Everything else is just too dangerous.
Yeah.
I would not have sleepovers. I'd have boundaries about what time at night. I would do your best to not be alone together for a long period of time. And even in a relationship, I wouldn't see each other every day.
Yeah.
I would really try to keep it 3 to 4 times a week, and you want to make sure you keep onto yourself. You want to hold onto yourself. You don't want to get codependent. You don't want to, you don't want to like merge your life so much with theirs that you lose yours. Right. So I think having that space, not losing your community, making sure your mentors are involved in everything, right? Having, we call them board of advisors, right? You want to really have your board of advisors involved. And it's not saying like every detail where it's like smack talking, but it's like inviting someone in if there's a conflict, right?
Who might that be? Because like I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I don't have that. Like, I have my mom. Like I
actually don't recommend mom. But I would say if you can find another couple that you look up to, invite them into the process.
I like that.
I would get a counselor. Right. If you have a small church, like get your pastor involved, right? If there's people, strong people in your life that they have what you want, invite them in.
Got you.
Or even just godly, sound people that are filled with wisdom, right? You don't want to journey alone in this. But physical boundaries, it's probably the hardest thing, I think, for any couple. And if you mess up, who cares? Get back up, right? Like I think a lie is like, well, we messed up once, we can't, no, you messed up once, keep going, But yeah, I would limit the amount of time together alone. I'd have a deadline of when you got to get out, and no sleepovers. And I know that's hard if you want to travel and stuff, but then you know what? Suck it up and get an extra room,
Okay.
There's going to be sacrifices, and you really, really don't want to mess with this area because once you go there, you can go back, but you don't want to.
Sure. Yeah, that was my next question. Like traveling, is that okay? And then how do you do that?
Yeah, you get another room.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're going to a house, make sure the parents are on the same page, right? And if you're going to a hotel, get another room. I would probably stick to hotels versus Airbnbs because that could be a little like, they're in the same Airbnb. There are ways that you can do it cleanly. And another thing, it's just a temporary amount of time. Just like if you're long distance dating, it's just temporary. Everything is temporary. And then once you're married, you can have sex all the time. Have fun, you know? But I think it's really protecting that time beforehand.
Do you recommend traveling?
I do think you should get in a long road trip with somebody and traveling, testing to see if you guys can do it.
Yeah. Yes, like practicing that extended amount of time.
I sure do.
Yeah, I feel like that's when you really get to know somebody.
Yeah, yeah, and I think traveling, conflict, road trips. I think meeting family and friends. Those are all really big things you want to do.
So say if you're in a relationship and you find out that's not like the right person.
Yeah.
What's the right way to tell somebody that?
Not what happened to me last time. No, I think that's really hard, right?
Yeah.
It's a hard situation. So most people want to take the easy way out, right? But you want to take the hard way out. And first, you want to make sure that you're making the decision not out of your own brokenness. You want to make sure that you're making the decision because your board of advisors are like, this is not a healthy relationship and you need to move forward, right? God has been like, this is not good for you. You don't want to walk away from a relationship because your attachment style is being triggered. You don't want to walk away because you're scared of being hurt. So you're going to hurt them first, right?
Yeah.
You have to really, really analyze why. And now now it's time to walk away. What does that look like? And I think that is the way that you dated: kindness, honesty, integrity. And you go to them face to face, eye to eye, and you affirm them and you tell them the truth about what you cared about them. Like tell them, what is it that you loved? And then tell them why, and be honest. Because they'll be able to see through it, right? Yeah. And then you want to wish them all the best, genuinely. And then you're broken up, like actually broken up, like talking like you're not talking anymore. You're done. If you're walking away, you're walking away. You do not want to go back and forth and back and forth. If you break up, you're done.
Because I feel like there's a big part, maybe it's even like a few months where you kind of know like this isn't your right person, and you kind of realize it, but you can't commit to it, or maybe you deny it.
Yep.
And like, are you supposed to show signs that like you're not into this person as much, or that can kind of be toxic too? So it's like, how do you, or you just hit them all at once and then you surprise them?
Yeah, I think that it depends on the situation.
Yeah.
You know, I think being honest and authentic. So I really think if you're doing that once a week emotional thing, like that's going to come up.
Yeah.
So it's like, it actually won't be that much of a surprise, but I still think, so let's just say it's, I don't know, you're 5 months into the relationship and you have a conflict with parents. Okay. And you're like not aligned. Right. And it's an argument, but then, okay, so we're going to table this where we're not agreeing. But then you want to still show up in the relationship. You don't necessarily want to be distant or mean or any of that, right? Cold, callous is what I mean by mean. Yeah. Because you really want to give the relationship a shot and you want to see, can we work through this problem, right? And then you realize in the next emotional connection time, oh wait, we're actually getting worse. This isn't going well, right? So I think that out of the two scenarios, it is gradual, but it's both people are aware because, okay, this is actually, we're not able to work through it. And I think that time protects you from someone being like, where did that come from? Yeah.
For sure. How about heartbreak? Like, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that grief? How do you get over it? Is there any easier way out?
Yeah. The only way out is through.
Yeah.
So many people don't want to feel heartbreak. So they go to another person. They go to whatever their secret vice is, right?
Yeah.
So what I would say is the first thing is you got to accept what happened. And then once you accept it, you take one step at a time. I think you clear anything in your home that reminds you of them, get them out, right? And then you got to get your team. And sometimes it might not be the people that you think, who understands your situation, who can support you, who can be someone to walk you through this pain. You pick your team, get your playlist together, do the emotional, crying, sad playlist. And then you do a really like angry, like, I got to get this out. I'm upset. I need to like Kelly Clarkson this right now, you know, Carrie Underwood, like, let's go, you know, or whatever it is for dudes. But then there's a hope playlist of like, God hasn't left you and he sees you, right? It's getting in God's word. Trust me, God's word is going to talk to you. He is going to tell you exactly what he thinks. And I think that's beautiful. And I think continuing to take it one day at a time, cry, watch fun rom-coms, right? Like, make plans with your friends, but be with yourself. Write out the lessons that you learned. Write what you did love about the person and what you don't want. And then I think you write an FU letter that you don't send.
Interesting.
Yeah. Burn it, you know, throw it in an ocean if you're near an ocean. I miss the ocean. But yeah, I think doing all of the different things that can really heal you, and go to counseling. Really go to counseling, talk to someone about it. And you will know when you're ready to move forward.
Is it different between guys and girls?
With heartbreak, I think girls maybe want a little bit more chocolate, a little more rom-com. Guys might need a little bit more gym time and Metallica.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still think that men and women have to heal. And I think the gift that you give your next person is if you heal well, you won't bring any of that baggage. So it's also looking into your future, not just trying to escape your pain in the present.
Exactly. So say heartbreak doesn't happen and everything goes well in the relationship. When's the right time to drop a knee?
Oh, this is so good. I like love this. When you were saying earlier about like being almost ambivalent, I read this morning about, I think it was in Jayme, about being half-hearted. So anyone who's half-hearted, you want to be all in or all out, because you leave room for the enemy to come in, right? And that indecision is so much even more painful than just pulling the Band-Aid off.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay. Now for my favorite subject. Everyone has their own story, and God he has a unique story for everyone. There's anomalies out there everywhere you go. Just in my experience, when I've seen people hurt from their past coming together, I think that what is safe is like about 6 months, you should know if this is the person you want to spend your life with. But I wouldn't drop a knee until a year. And I know it's a long time, but I think getting to know someone in all 4 seasons is essential, because I've seen it where I've had friends that didn't. And there's a lot of devastation. I'm talking Christian friends, right?
Yeah.
I think 12 months gives you a full picture of who they are, and you're not going to fully know them, right, until you marry them. But I think 12 months is a beautiful, beautiful picture. And then I'm a wedding planner. I can plan a wedding in 2 months. Just reach out to me.
I love it. So 12 months. But like, how do you know, like, mentally when you're ready?
I think 6 months. I really do.
It's just a knowing.
Yeah. I just think that if you don't know at 6 months, like if you're ambivalent at 6 months, you should walk away.
Gotcha.
You know, just because that's not fair to the other person. You know, I think 6 months is a good time to be like, no, like this person is incredible. And I'm still so excited getting to know them despite conflict. Like our purposes align. I feel like we could be a kingdom couple. Like, let's keep going.
What would you say to the person that's like on the fence?
Ask why.
Yeah.
Why are you on the fence? Is it about them? Is it about you? Are you afraid of commitment? Why are you afraid of commitment? Did your parents get divorced? Are you afraid of getting hurt? Are you afraid of, are you suffering from FOBO? Are you afraid that there's someone else out there? Right? Like, that's why I think counseling and a team of mentorship is like key, because you have to question everything. It's the same thing in dating. Every time you go on a first date, journal about it, talk about it. How did I feel? Why? Not just like, oh, this is how I feel, and accept it. Like challenge your feelings, challenge the why.
I love that. So like, what does the future look like for you and like in all this?
Oh,
Where are you trying to go? Where are you trying to take it?
I love being a dating coach, and I love it because my dream is to help people be healthy in dating so they can be healthy in marriage. So we can have so many more kingdom marriages and so many less miserable marriages. Because even if you're not divorced, there's so many marriages, Christian marriages, where they are miserable, right? And what if instead we actually dated for the kingdom, got married for the kingdom, and then we're kingdom builders together, right? We're aligned in purpose. And instead of wasting time on being miserable and your spouse being your ministry, now it's like you can use all of that energy towards whatever the Lord is calling you to.
Wow.
So that's what I'm excited. I'm excited to continue one-on-one coaching. I want to do it all the time. And then I'm excited for my own love story. I know that the Lord is, he's doing something great. And, it's been a journey. I'm writing a book.
Are you? No way.
Yes. Do you want to know the title?
Absolutely.
It's called The Christian Bachelorette.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, it's the perfect title.
I know.
It's so good. That's so good. Cool. What would you say your purpose is?
To be a generational change, to break generational curses, to help others break generational curses. To build healthy Christians, to build healthy marriages. Yeah.
Love that. Do you want to shout anything out, like all your businesses and where people can find you?
Yes. Okay. So personal, Jayme Vayner. I think everyone should go to counseling. So I'm a practice manager at Holding Space Counseling.
Okay.
So you can find me there, Holding Space Counseling. And then my passion, Heart of Dating. So you can do one-on-one coaching there. You just go to one-on-one coaching to Jayme, book me anytime. I'm super flexible. And then if anyone is engaged or thinking of being engaged, so my business, Something Beloved Co., I love it so much because it's kind of like the cherry on the top of all that I do. And I get to curate, my services to you. So whatever it is you need, I'll do. So if you just need advice, I've got you. You need help design, I got you.
Nice.
So I'm a consultant versus a planner. So planners, they're just so much money, right? And this, it's like, it works for me and it works for you, which is great. So Something Beloved Co. And yeah, you can find me all over.
Yeah, I love it. Last question. It's a pretty deep one.
Oh God.
So say if you were dying on your deathbed and your family and your friends were surrounding you and you had like one last message to tell them, what would you say?
Wow, that's a good question. That's not what I would say. I would just say, Jesus loves you so much. Yeah, Jesus loves you so much. Yeah, he loves you he loves you so much. That's what I'd say.
Awesome. Cool. We'll end it there. And thanks for coming on. This is honestly like really insightful for me.
Yeah.
Like I learned a lot.
Oh,
so
I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. I'm glad I have you in my corner. And this is great. I think people are going to get a lot out of this.
I love it. Thank you, Zach.
Yeah.
You're the best. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Cool. Signing off.
Yay.